Kabul Haraf, how are you?
Ladies. Sorry to make you wait.
Rabbi, just get a sandal and just go like this to the computer and it will get fixed. Just go to the screen.
Okay, here we go. All right. So.
Did you are we recording? I don't think I heard that recording. Okay.
Oh, you didn't hear that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. It's automatic.
Okay.
So it should be.
Kabul Haraf, we finished that, no?
Yeah, looks like we did. Yeah, we're doing now Yud and Yud Aleph.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's Bet Yosef al-Tzarich She'er Kesher Me'achorei Harosh. Also, it seems like there's a tour. The wrong one. Right. Okay. Yeah, so it's like this. וצריך שיהיה הקשר מאחורי הראש. The knot has to be behind the head. בעורף, right, which is the back of the head. ולא למטה, not below, בצוואר, not on the throat, not on the neck. Not on the neck. ושיהיה מול עורף. It should be next to the back of the head. ממש. ומכוון באמצע. It should be also aligned towards the middle. באמצע הראש, towards the middle of the head. ולא שתת לצד פנים לכאן וכאן. It also should not go from, it shouldn't tilt from one side to the other. To one side or the other. לכאן או כאן. צריך שיהיה נוי. Okay, so that's one thing. Then it says, okay, first we'll do a bit Yosef on that. Let's see. Right, so it says in Pet Yosef, Besov Perek Kometz. It's over there in the same Gemara. Lamed Hamud Bet. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, so it says Rabbi Yehuda, Kesher Shel Tefillin Tzarich Sheher Lemala. So he says, right, that the knot of the Tefillin has to be above. So what does that mean, above? Pirush Rashi, Lemala Begova Harosh. Has to be on the head. Above on the head. But not on the neck, as we said. This is what Rambam says. It should be on top of the back of the head, whatever. Which is the end of the skull. So what does that mean? The way it turns out was like this, right? That the skull bone, right, goes down towards the back of the head, and there's a place where it ends. You can feel it with your fingers, you know, where the skull ends, and where that ends is where the knot of the tefillin is supposed to be exactly, right at the end of it. That's the story. Okay, so then it goes on to say, "V'shem mul oref mamash." Gam ze sham. It's also there. It says that it should be next to the back of the head, whatever. Gam ze tzan shehe klape pnim. It should be towards the inside. He says. Rashi explains, what does that mean? Mimul oref. It should be next to the back of the head. Not towards the sides, right in the middle. In the middle of the head. That's what the Rosh says. Okay, that's that. Kataba Agur, so says the Agur. Rabbeinu Eliakim, these rabbis, Piresh shelo yeh mechuvan keneged ha'oref ela mitzaded l'tzad echad v'lo nahagu ken ad kan lashano. So this rabbi says differently, right? Actually, it should be towards the sides. But he says the custom is not so, right? So we don't do it like this. Katab Rambam, says the Rambam, tzarich lechaven otam be'emtza. It has to be in the middle, right? That's the whole idea. Kadesh yayu ben einayim should be between the eyes. And it seems like his reasoning is from what we say. Tzarich shehe klape panim. That should be towards the face, maybe that's what it means to say. Because appreciate like Rashi, like says Raj Rosh, like these rabbis explain. But since the knot is there in the back of the head, so therefore also the capsule will be between the eyes. So it's like, you know, one corresponds to the other. He says, nevertheless, right, even without this, you also have to do this because to uphold the verse. What does the verse say? It should be between your eyes. Right, so between your eyes, right, means above, but also in between as well. Okay, so then it says, so he says the beauty of it, whatever it says, right, which is like a daled, should be towards the outside. So what does that mean? Sham v'noyehen levar. So it says in the Gemara, same Gemara, that the beauty of it should be outside. What does that mean? Rashi, hatzad shel hakesher, the side of the knot. Shenireh bo daled. You see the daled. It should be seen from the outside. Maybe so, another way to look at it is talking about the beauty of them, of the straps. Shem chalakot, which are smooth. One side they're smooth, utzvuyot v'shecharot, and they're painted black, colored black. And it says that's the beauty, right? That it's black. It says what's the proof for that? because we say that if the strap of the tefillin got inverted, Amale, he tells him, Lo savar la more. Don't you hold v'noyehem lebar, that should be the beauty should be to the outside. In other words, it should be sticking out, protruding. Katav Rosh says the Rosh al zen regarding this. He wrote about this. Umiu gam ala kesher kaeh. So it says it's also referring to the knot. Like it comes out from this Gemara. Eruvin Tzadik Zayin Amud Aleph. וכן פירש בערוך, also in the ערוך. וכן כתב המורדכי, also the מורדכי, וכתב עוד, writes furthermore, הרצועות של ראש. If it's talking about the straps of their head, כל שכן הקשר של יד, all the more so it's going to apply to the knot of the hand, of the arm. ועוד דלא אשכחה לחילוק, so the truth is that we don't find any differentiation between the head and the arm, the same thing. So it says, I'm not able to really be lenient here. It says, therefore it's good to be machmir, good to be stringent. That's the language. There's also there in the Gemara, Moed Katan, Kafei Amud Aleph, the Rab Huna itapacha le retzuah. So it says that Rav Huna, his strap got inverted. The tefillin, v'atib ala arba'in ta'anita. Wow. So he says he fasted 40 days because of that, because of the strap of the tefillin was inverted. Can you imagine? So, ובהלכות תפילין כתב בראש, in laws of tefillin, says the Rosh, וזה לשון תשובת גאון, this language that says the tshuva of the gaon, the response to the gaon, רצועה דרב הונא, that what happened was the strap of Rav Huna, itapcha, got inverted, ויתיב 40 יומין בתענית, he sat 40 days in fasting, בשל יד, or בשל ראש. The Gemara asks, was it the arm tefillin or the head tefillin? Which one was it? So he says, we learned from the rabbis that it was actually the head. Okay, it was the head. Rav Huna diati b'tanita. So he says, Rav Huna that was sitting in a fast, la mishum dechova hava, not because it was an obligation. He was just being pious about it, right? Being very pious. There's another tshuva. It says the one who inverts the strap, shel rosh, of the head, or shel yad, or the arm, mechayev lemeta b'tanita, he has to sit in a fast. Wow. The poshia, we call a sinner. But tzarich tanit, it needs a fast. But to say that he has to do 40 fasts, right? That's already a little bit far-fetched. So we don't go that far. So he says this was just because of his saintliness. That's why he did 40 fasts, right? Not because it was an obligation, obviously. Okay. By the way, just to fill you in, what is he talking about here? That the strap of the tefillin got inverted. So what does that mean? In those days, right? Now today it's a little bit different, but in those days, the outside of the strap was black and the inside was not. It wasn't colored at all. It was just natural color. So we need to have the black on the outside. So therefore, if it gets inverted, the problem is that you have the black on the inside now. On the outside, you have the natural color. So this is not the way it's supposed to be. So this is the reason why he fasted. In order to atone for this indiscretion of his, right? Whatever you want to call it. But I just want to point out one thing, that when he talks about the strap getting inverted, We're not talking about the straps that you wind around your forearm, because as we said, right, those are not really so crucial. So then what strap is he talking about? He's talking about the strap that ties the tefillin to your arm, or the strap that ties the tefillin to your head. That part should never be inverted. So you got to be careful about that when you're putting it on. Make sure it's right side up, right? Not upside down. But here's the thing, right? Nowadays, now the custom has come in the last few years, last 10 years or so, whatever. Now they're making the tefillin straps black on both sides, right? Double-sided black. So therefore, the truth is, nowadays it's better, because even if it does get inverted, you still have black on the other side as well. And so therefore it's not so bad as it used to be.
Kavod Harav.
Yes.
Is one of the in regards to the straps, is the black shiny on both sides, or is there a difference, or no?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? The truth is, that it's not shiny on the other side, on the inside. But the truth is, we don't find any obligation that it should be shiny. We do find this obligation that it should be black. So as long as it's black, it's kosher. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, thank you.
So the shiny element is, it seems like it's just it's an extra thing. We call it hidur, like something, beautiful, whatever, nice, looks nice, but not really something which is altogether obligation. Yeah. So I think also, like in those days, they didn't even make them shiny like that. It's something that came in our times, this shiny business.
It's for the beauty, cosmetics, no?
Right,
Or maybe-
exactly. But I think in those days, like if you look at the old tefillin, they didn't even make it shiny. But it was smooth though. It was smooth but not shiny, So the
Okay.
shiny thing just came in recently, I think, like in our generation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, God bless. Okay, so that's that. Okay, let's go on. So it says right, so it says Rabbeinu nireh, so it seems like Rabbeinu, the Tur, nireh shesover k'divrei tshuva harishona. He seems to hold like the first tshuva, the first response. Ulfichach says, therefore, lo katav shezaher. He didn't write that you should be careful, that it shouldn't invert. So the strap shouldn't invert. Ela b'shel rosh, only the head. But the Rambam katav, says the Rambam Pek Gimel, uleolam yizaher liot pnei ha'ratzuah lemala. So the Rambam says, be very careful that the strap should be the outside, facing out, right? The outside facing out, not facing in, right? In other words, it shouldn't get inverted, right? That's what I mean. When he ties it, you should make sure that it's straight, like not twisted, right? That's the idea. And also on the head. So both, right? On the arm and also on the head as well. Katav Mari Abuhav. So it says Mari Abuhav. Zal, the Mishnah, the Rambam, Deek, the Lakaftinan, Ela Shelo Titapech Tzua Beshat Hanacham. So he says, if you look at the Rambam, right, and read precisely his language, he seems to be only talking about when you're putting it on. At that time, it shouldn't get inverted. But if you put it on properly, and then it got inverted afterwards, and only krap posher, he's not called a sinner in that case. Interesting. So he says, Maran says, right, it doesn't seem to me that this is correct inference here. So what does that mean? As long as he puts it on properly, it's not gonna turn over, right? That's not gonna invert. Okay, so he. Okay, so let's go on. So it says, "Bishal shel atzot shehu teluin lefanav." Okay, we gotta do this tour now. There's more tour here. We didn't read this yet in the tour. Let's go back there. So I'll read the tour over here. It says like this. It's actually Rizahir. So you have to be careful. Right, they shouldn't invert the straps. In order that the good side, right, the nice side should be outside. So what does that mean? That the white side, right, which is unpainted, right, should be towards the hair. And that part is more smooth. And the outside should be painted the black. So we already covered that, right? But now he says also another thing, which is that you should hang down the straps. They should be hanging in front of him. He's talking about the tefillin of the head, right? You hang down the straps on your chests. So it says the right side should go at least until the belly button, right? The length. At least until the belly button. The shell small and the left side ada chazeh until the chest. So that's the minimal size, right? The right side until the belly button, left side until the chest. Some say the shel tzad yamin ada milah. Some say the right side should be until the milah, right? The shel small, and the left side ada tibur should be until the belly button. So it says, what about the width of the straps? How wide do they have to be? So it says it's like the size of a barley. And if you add it or subtract it, it doesn't disqualify. So, by the way, this issue with the length, with the width of the straps, it says it should be a barley, right? So that's about a centimeter. So therefore, the minimal width of the strap should be a centimeter. That's the minimum. Nowadays, they make it like much wider than that. So therefore, if something happens, it still has some slack left over. That it shouldn't be altogether, too small, too narrow. Okay, that's the end of the tour. Let's go back to Bet Yosef. So it says like this. He should hang down the straps that should be hanging in front of him. And the right side, therefore, should come to the, as we said, with the belly button. Until the end of the siman, it says Divrei Rosh. These are all the words of the Rosh. The Sof, Ilchot Tefillin, the end of the laws of Tefillin. Mordechai, also Mordechai. V'samag v'tumah. All these rabbis write the same thing. So it says, Katvu B'Shem Shimush Rabbah. They wrote the name of this midrash. B'Shem Arif, and the name of the Rif also. Kisvar Rishon, like the first opinion. V'chen Katu B'Samach, also the Samach. The Tosfot Katvu B'Sov Perek Kakometz. Sheyesh Omrim, says Tosfot, there are those who say, Shetiga Rosh HaEchad ad tiburo. One side should go until his belly button. V'rosh hasheni, and the other one, the other side, ad halev, until the heart. Shema shum midrash yesh. Adkan ukvar. So it says maybe there's some midrash, whatever. Ukvar katabti. So it says I already wrote leil above the siman and this siman. Shadat Rashi the Hadamin, and the Rashi holds that which we say. So practical comments now in this part of the comments. And this Gemara we just mentioned now. The kama shiurayu, and how much the size? Amar Rabbi Vachama, Amar Resh Lakish, ad etzba, until one finger, right? Tzerada, which means like your middle finger.
You mean the width?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, no. Let's talking about the length, as we said yesterday, right? It has to go until the middle finger, the length. So yeah, so then it says so it says talking about the straps of the head. Finish the tzarda, and he explains what is tzarda. Haino etzba asamuch the godal. That's the finger which is next to the thumb. In other words, it's the index finger. And that which the Amoraim are arguing about, the more mechave kafuf, more mechave pashut. One side is talking about when they're bent. One's talking about when they're opened up, when they're straight. Rashi explains kafuf kama sheachol lifshot be'etzba. So he says the bent. How much is he able to open up from the finger ad ama until the ama, which is the longest finger, the middle finger. Pashut kama sheachol lifshot migudal be'etzba. So it says it's simple and plain. How much is he able to open it up and to stretch it out? Migudal from the thumb until the etzba, until the index finger. So this is regarding the spreading out of the finger. Migudal have pshita. So that would be pashut. Ama מאצבע בכפיפה, לפי שבאמצע לגודל מתפשט יותר הרבה. So it says why? Because when you bend it, it gets stretched out even more, the strap. הרבה מאצבע למה, between, it's much more than between the index finger and the ama, the middle finger. והתוספות חלקו עליו. So it says תוספות argues with this. And they explain the etzba tzrada he etzba aruka. So Tosfot says no. We're talking here about the long finger, right? The middle finger. That's how we explained it yesterday. As opposed to the index finger, right? That's what the first opinion was saying. Shekorin ama, we call it ama. Ufizeh pashut hayno migudal ad ama kafuf. So then pashut, right? It's simple. It's clear that we're talking about from the thumb until the ama, the long finger, the kafuf betzba, and it's going to be bent from the finger ad ama until one ama. Ube Aruch piresh Rash in Aruch explains the kafuf hainu mikar gudal. What does kafuf mean? The bent. It means from the thumb ad rosh etzba until the top of the finger. When they're sticking to each other, touching each other. So it says it's clear that from the head of the head of the finger, ad rosh kudal, until the head of the thumb, when they're stretched out, that's the language over there. Tosfot Rambam Katava Peg Megadim. I'm sorry, no, Peg Gimel. It says there. So let me read that again. Ad kan lashon Tosfot. That's the language of Tosfot. And then he says, Rambam Katab. Did somebody say something?
Mama, did you sign them together?
I'm sorry, what was that name?
Those new ones. So this was the one who was on the table?
I took a picture.
Oh, this
So it
was
says
it?
Rambam Katab Pek Gimel. It says Rambam Pek Gimel. Orech hashteh retzuot. So it says the length of the two straps. Ad sheyagiu letibor. One is going to be until the belly button, as we said, right? The right side. Or lemala mimenu, or above it. Me'at, a little bit above that.
Oh, just this one.
Yeah, well, where's this then?
So he's saying right
It's
now,
there.
Rambam.
Look, it's right there underneath it.
This was it. Which one is the-
Rob, can you please mute?
Yeah, I did. Thank you. I just did it. So as we said, right, that again, right, we'll read the Rambam again one more time. The Rambam Katab says the Rambam Pet Gimel, Sheorech hashteh zetzot, that the length of the two straps, Ad sheyagiu letibor or lemala, until they get to the belly button or a little bit above that, mimenu miat. So he holds that they both have to be like that. V'ahash katabti b'siman zeh, says regarding that which we wrote in the siman, the ita be'kometz gabe retzuot, that it says it's in the Gemara that we mentioned regarding the straps. Rabba katar lehu upashit, like he would tie them and open the shadeh lehu and then put them. Rav Acha Yaakov, and this rabbi katar lehu, he would tie matlit lehu and then hang it. More bered Ravina abid kididan. So he says this rabbi was doing like us. So we'll see what this means right now. He explains. Rashi explains like this: Rabba kishemaniach tefillin. When Rabba was putting tefillin, kashar le bereshe v'shireh etzot pashit. He would tie it on his head, the tefillin on his head, right? And v'shireh etzot, and then whatever's remaining of the straps, pashit v'shadeh lehu. He would open them up and spread them down, go down. And they're hanging on off his shoulder, right behind him. Oh, that's interesting, right? He's saying behind him, not in front of him. We do in front, right? Not behind. Okay, whatever. Anyway, what does that mean? So it says those straps that were hanging off his shoulder, he would plate them or something, right? And let them go down, hang down. We'll see. Okay. The kididan, like us, it's like our custom. Katruah Tosfot, it says in Tosfot, the pashit v'shadeh that he would stretch it out and let it hang al katifab on his shoulders, from the front. He says, right. So that's what we do, right? We do from the front, not from the back. How can I know? And now which Rabbeinu wrote that he should hang down the straps. That it should be hanging before him. So this is regarding the width of the straps. Katava Mordechai says Mordechai, this language over there. The Samag Katav says the Samag Rochav Arutzuot Yoter Michita, that the width of the strap has to be more than the size of a wheat kernel, and less than a barley kernel. And if it's less than that, or more than that, letlamba, we don't care, right? In other words, no big deal either way. But the truth is that we hold, halakhically speaking, we hold that if your strap is too small, too narrow, you should change it, right? Even though it's not pasul, but it's not the proper way, right? That's not the best way. So therefore, if it gets too narrow, whenever you can change it, you should change it. But here they're saying, right, different opinion. That what? That we don't really care about it, it's no big deal either way. Umiu mitoch samak, so it says from samak, mashma implies shem pichet pasul. Oh, so samak says like that, right? That if it's too narrow, pasul, so that's right already much more stringent. Ad kan shano, v'gam midivri Rambam says also from the Rambam, yireh shem pichet pasul. He also says, right? The Rambam seems to say that if it's too narrow, pasul, not kosher. So there you go, right? So you see from there, you should be very careful about that. Shkatav rechava, it says rechava, it has to be the length of the body. If it's wider than this, hashiur kshera, it's still kosher, no big deal. We don't care about that. So it says in the end of the perek, with that Rambam, katav v'shireh tzuot psulim. So it says the remnants. I'm sorry, no, yeah, the leftovers, right? Leftovers of the straps are pasul ache orka v'rechava kishiur, until unless you have the proper size. What does that mean? The proper length and proper width. So it's telling you, right, that stuff that hangs down off your shoulders, right? Those straps, they have a minimum size, a minimum length, and minimum width, as we already mentioned. Or more. But that's Shemash Katav Rabbeinu. So you should know that which Rabbeinu wrote, Vein Pichet O Sif, that if he made it less or more, doesn't hold it back. No big problem. Going to the tour. That's also going on the length as well. That's what the Rosh holds. So it seems like the Rosh holds that these sizes are no big deal. We're not so stringent about them. But he didn't say how much it's lacking. That it should be pasul. So it implies from the Rosh that even if something got left over, a little bit got left over, kasher, it's still kosher. Mordechai katav, says Mordechai, she'im nifsaku aratzot or izdamnu. Let's say the straps got ripped, or shenan elokot, kokach, or they're just not they're not long enough. So in other words, he's giving you two different things, right? One is that it was long enough and it ripped, whatever, or it never was long enough. It was just made short. Right? Either way, it says Kadai Rashi Lismoch Alav. So we can rely on Rashi, he says, right? In other words, if you don't have any other tefillin to put on, you can rely on Rashi who says it's kosher. So it says, I already wrote the Samuch close by, Rambam posel keshepichat me'ashur. Rambam says it's pasul when the size is not there. Whether it's the length or the width, pasul. V'chen halacha. So that's halacha. Ramanan says, but whenever it's possible, right? In other words, whenever it's possible, you should replace it if it's not the proper size, right? Right. So if you can find another one, go get the other one. But if not, right, then we say, okay, at least put that one because you have what to rely on, right? There are several Rishonim that say that's kosher, right? Like the Rosh, right, and the Tur or whatever. So therefore, right, there's still what to rely on. But a person who can replace it should try to replace it right away. Shouldn't wait too long for this issue. Okay, Katzua Tosfot. It says in Tosfot, but so per comments right over there. Since we said Gemara, when do you bless on tefillin? Mishat hanacha, when you put it, ad shat kshira, until you tie it. So he says Rabbeinu Eliyahu was being very careful. You should have to tie the tefillin every day. Oh, wow. Rabbeinu Tam Amar Hashem tzarich ad shat kshira. היינו עדוק דמייתקו מצמצמו בראשו וכל הפוסקים הסכימו לדעת הבנתם. Something interesting, right? he says that there was one rabbi, as we see here, Rabbi Eliyahu. What he would do is he would make the knot every day, a new knot for the tefillin. Why? Because he felt that was a part of the mitzvah, right? Which nobody does that today. But he was being machmir about this, right? So he says, but we hold, like Rabbi Tam, who holds that you don't need to do this. So then, Bob, what about when it says the pasuk, right? Ukshatam liot al yadecha. You should tie them. You should make a knot. So that's talking about tightening it. When you're tightening it, you're tying it on your body. So therefore, there's no reason to make a new knot every day, right? That's ridiculous already. It's not ridiculous, but it's a big chumrah, you know? Whatever, right? So therefore, we don't care about this. Okay, so so it says all the poskim agree to Rabbeinu Tam. So therefore, the halacha is right that you don't have to do the new knot every day, right? Like we just mentioned. There's no reason to do that. Not like Rabbeinu Eliyahu, right? These two had a lot of arguments, you know. Rabbeinu Tam and Rabbi Eliyahu. They were both on Tosfot, in Bal Tosfot. So this is one of their arguments, right? There's also some other famous arguments that they have. Okay, whatever. Anyway, it says V'katav Hagul, says the Hagul, V'zeh leshono, כתב הרוקח, says הרוקח, שיש לגלח השיער של הצוואר. So it says you should shave the hair which is on the neck, כדי שתהיה הרצועה נוגעת בבשרו. Why? That the strap should be touching your skin. But don't have to. Also, they're not going to be machmir about this either. Right? So what does that mean? It's touching your hair, it's also good, right? No problem. Because your hair is attached to the skin. So it's one of the same, you know, it's the same thing. So we're not really machmir about that. Okay, good. Katul Mordechai says in Mordechai, Katab Shimush Rabba. It says in Shimush Rabba, Tzarich leksunyunhu kidei shelo yir'u yira'u. You have to cover them in order they shouldn't be visible. Dichtiv leot lecha leot. It says to you it should be a sign, but not for others. That's how they darshan this pasuk. Leot. V'ratz omer. This rabbi says. Dane shel Rosh is talking about Chele Ur'u. When it comes to Rosh, it calls it Ur'u. You should see them. Like it says in Devarim Kafchet Amud, I'm sorry, Perek Kafchet Pasuk Yud. Lefi shehem makom gilui. Says that because they are in a place where it's open, where it's visible, Rosh on the head. About Shel Yad, but when it comes to Shel Yad, Hem Bizo'o, there on his forearm, his arm, Tachat Debusho, on his clothing. The Rashina, where we explained, Lechaliot Velo Alachim. You should be, for you a sign, not for others a sign. When it comes to the arm tefillin. Okay. The shin ika berosh v'yud bedalet lo huskar b'shum makom. So this is also the shin that you have on the head, and also the yud and the dalet. It's not mentioned any place. He says makom. They appreciate like we already explained above. Kom makom v'day tov sheiru midiktiv. But it says anyway, it's a good idea that it should be visible, as it's written. Uktiv nameh v'raita. It says like this. These psukim. You should see them. The Okimna, and we established that pasuk, a kesher, it's talking about the knot. Yesh tefaresh, and there is to explain. It says that Shimush Rabbah is modeh, is mitz, shetzarich lirot a kesher. You do have to see the knot. Umiu ata chayshinan. So it says it says nowadays, however, we're concerned the yuhara, that you should be like arrogant. Right? So therefore we cover it. מכסין אותה, אף על פי שאין נכון, even though this is not proper to do this way, מדברי הבעל התרומה, this is from this rabbi, נראה דלא איירה שימוש הרבה, it seems like this book שימוש הרבה is talking about אלא בתפילה של יד, it's only talking the arm tefillin, דווקא, read that one, וכך הם דברי אורחות חיים, that's what it says in אורחות חיים, שכתב וזה לשונו, this what it says, תפילין של יד צריך לכסותן, so you have to cover the tefillin of the hand, דכתיב לך להיות ולא לאחרים, it should be for you a sign, not for others, להיות. אבל של ראש, but when it comes to the head, טוב ליותם גלויים, it's better that should be exposed, ונראים, invisible. דכתיב, it says, כל המארץ, all the people will see, right, that God is with you, whatever, name of Hashem is called upon you. ואמר באליעזר, אלו תפילין של ראש, that's talking about the tefillin of the head, עד כאן ישנו, וכתוב עוד בספר, this is also written, אורחות חיים, בשם רבנו היי, the name of this גאון, מנהג הגאונים, וחכמים, ואבות בית דין, so he says, these big rabbis, all these big חכמים, right, שמניחים אותם בגילוי, that they wear them openly, אבל תלמיד בפני רבו, but it says when you're a talmid in front of your rabbi, and midderech eretz legalot tefillin, you shouldn't expose your tefillin in front of the rabbi. Shelo yishavu atzmam rabotam. Why? Because you shouldn't come to compare yourself, right, to your rabbi, not to equate yourself. Right. By the way, you see from here some good manners, right? The person shouldn't try to look more religious than his rabbi. Right? That's not a good idea. So that's the whole thing, right? That's what we learn from here. So if your rabbi wears one tefillin, you wear two, that's not proper. You're insulting him like that, right? That's what the story that I told you guys yesterday, right? Chacham Ben Zion, when he was in Panama with Rav Zion Levi, he didn't want to wear two. Why? Because Rav Vadia was coming there, Maran Rav Vadia. So he didn't want to show him that he's wearing two, he didn't want to have that arrogance there, So therefore he took it off. He wore only one. Right, that's the idea. Okay, good. So so it says you look like you're arrogant when you do that. That's the thing, Az panim. Az panim legeinam. What does that mean? You want to look more religious than your rabbi does. Not a good idea. But as I already mentioned in my classes, that the truth is, if your rabbi sees you like this, you're playing these kind of games, he can put you in nidu, he can excommunicate you if he wants. So be careful. If you have one of those bad rabbis, those bad boys, he may get angry at you. Put you in nidu. Be careful. Okay. So
or it means that they learned from a very good rabbi. That's what it means.
Yeah, well, there's a Gemara like this. You know what it says? The Gemara says that if you know a rabbi, a Talmid Chacham, who's very strict with you. In other words, he always rebukes you for every mistake you make. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? He's like tough guy, tough rabbi, Never gives you a discount. Always rebukes you for everything. So it says the Talmud, you should learn with him. Why? Because you'll learn so many things from him, because he'll never let you go with anything. He'll never give you discounts. He'll never give you anything. You know what I mean? He'll always put you in your place. This way you'll learn more Torah like that. You understand? So it's good to be with a tough rabbi, get a tough one, one of those tough guys. Don't go with those softies, that always compliment you. Oh, you're such a good boy. Oh, wow, you're so good. You don't want a rabbi like that. You want one of those mean rabbis, those mean guys. Okay. All right. So let's go on. So it says, תלמיד חכם בפני רבו, אין מדרך ארץ לגלות תפילין בפניו, שלא שישבו את זון לרבותם. As we said, right? וחוששים לעונש מפני שתפילין דרך כבוד. So he says we're concerned about being punished for that, Why? Because tefillin is kabod. Right? Right? It says, all the people should see that this is kabod for you, that you're wearing tefillin. Okay, very good. So we're done. We're just going to do Shulchan Aruch and we'll finish off this parak. Let's go to Shulchan Aruch.
I apologize. My internet was gone for a few
No
seconds.
problem. We all have our issues, you know. We all got internet issues. We're used to it.
Rabbi, a question.
Huh?
I have a question. Can I have a question?
Sure, yes.
Can I answer Amen or Baruch Hu before saying Verastich Le'olam on my fingers?
One more time, please. One more time.
Can I answer Amen or Baruch Hu before I put the straps around my fingers? Verastich Le'olam.
Oh, yeah. So the Rambam says, you should wait until you do those three things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he says, the Rambam. Why is that? Because then the bracha that you made for the tefillin will also fall on that. We want the bracha to also go on those.
And let's say if someone puts two tefillins, Rashi, Rabbeinu Tam at the same time.
Yeah.
So let's say I put Rashi first, and then there's Kaddish. Can I answer Amen before I put Rabbeinu Tam?
In between the two? That's
Yeah.
what you're asking?
Yes. If a Rashi is already put
Yeah,
up.
if it's in between two of them, there's no problem whatsoever.
But I still didn't say Verastich.
Oh, why not? But you said you already finished, no?
No.
Oh, you mean? You do right? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so then you got to be careful about that. You have to do
put the hands.
By the way, the important thing is not to say Verastich. The important thing is to do those three things. You know what I mean? Those three circles.
Right. My question is if I can answer Amen in general before I even.
As we said, right before you do those three, you shouldn't answer.
No, I better not. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned already before that the Rabbi writes, he writes that when it comes to Rabbeinu Tam itself, it's a little bit more lenient. So what does that mean? You can answer for Kaddish and Kedusha when you're in the middle of, but not Amen. So that's the story. But when it comes to Rashi, you got to be careful even with Kaddish and Kedusha not to answer. Okay. You know why that is? Because on Rabbeinu Tam we don't make a blessing, so it's not so severe. The hefsek, the interruption is not so severe. Okay, let's go to Shulchan Aruch. So it says in Shulchan Aruch, צריך שיהיה קשר מאחורי הראש למעלה. So it says the knot of the tefillin of the head has to be behind the head above, the orif, right? The back of the head. וצריך לכוון הקציצה שתהיה באמצע. So also it has to be in the middle of the head, right? Not towards the right, not towards the left, right smack in the middle. כדי שתהיה כנגד בין העיניים. Why is that? Because we want it to be parallel to the between the eyes. וגם הקשר יהיה באמצע. Also, right, the orif. The knot should be in the middle of the back of the head. ולא יטה לכאן או כאן. Right, the same thing. It shouldn't be tilting from one side to the other. So it should be all straight, right? Aligned properly, aligned. But צריך שיהיה המקום, so it says it has to be the place כדי שתהא כנגד בין העיניים. So therefore it should be that the tefillin should be between the eyes, right? וגם הקשר יהיה באמצע העורף, and also the knot in the back should be in the middle. ולא יותר, we already said this. צריך שיהיה מקום שבקשר שנראה כאין דלת. So it says also, we want that there should be a dalet there, right? Which sticks out. It's not like protruding. We want a protruding dalet there. There's a special way to do that, right? To make it like that dalet that protrudes. So yeah, if you want to learn how to do it, look on YouTube. They will find it there. Those dalet guys, they know how to do those dalets. Okay. So all right. So then he says in the Ramah, same thing also applies to the hand, the tefillin of the hand, the knot you make there. Also, we wanted that it shouldn't flip over, right? Right, that's already going on the last halakha, this Ramah. Okay, very good. So let's go to, we got one more Shulchan Aruch and we're done. One more. Okay, so says Yud Aleph Shulchan Aruch. צריך שיהיה השחור שברצועות בצד חוץ. So as we already said, right, that the black part of the straps should be towards the outside. But as I already mentioned, right now the custom is to make both sides black, which is better, by the way, because this way, if it flips over, no big deal, as we said, right? That's the thing. It shouldn't flip over. Ben shel yad, ben shel rosh, whether it's in the arm or the head, you shall, right? So as we mentioned, right, that this is talking about only the part of the strap which is actually holding the tefillin on your head or holding the tefillin on your arm, right? We're not talking about the when you wind around what you wind around your forearm. That's not so important, right? We're talking here about the knot that holds your tefillin on your arm or holds your tefillin on your head. That part is it's very crucial. That it shouldn't become inverted. So it says also you gotta hang down those straps on your head, tefillin, right? Hang them off your shoulders, and the right side should come until the belly button, right? And not only the right side, left side as well. So he's basically saying, right, it's the same size. Or a little bit above. So that's the custom of the Rambam that he's bringing here, the opinion of the Rambam, that he says that they're both the same, basically, right? Both sides. They should go until the belly button, at least. That's the minimum size. Okay, so then he says, what about the width of the straps? Shel yad or shel yad rosh, whether it's the arm or the head. Should be the length of a barley, right? Which we said is about 1 centimeter, right? So your minimum size, right, for your straps, the width should be 1 centimeter. If it gets smaller than that, good idea to replace it right away, right? Especially if you can, don't leave it like that, as we said. He's going to tell you now. So it says if the length is too short, or the width, if you can't find another tefillin yet to put, right? You can put them as is, right? Put them as is. Until you find something else which is the same, good size, right? Better size, larger. Tefillin shel rosh, right? By the way, I'm sure some poskim are going to tell you here that if you have a tefillin like this, the straps are too narrow or too short, you should probably put it on without a bracha because it's safek brachot yakel. We're going to check that in a second, but I'm just mentioning that. Tefillin shel rosh, right? What about tefillin of the head? It should be visible, he says, right? So what does that mean? You shouldn't cover it, the tefillin of the head. Aval tamid bifnei rabo, but he says when it comes to talmid in front of his Rabbi, and derech eretz the got tefillin in front of. Don't show your tefillin in front of your Rabbi. Right? And all the more so, don't show him two tefillin, right? That's even worse. Even if you show him one, it's a problem. Don't show him two. Okay, so that's that. Let me just look in the Mishnah Berurah here to see what he says about that. Give me a second. There's a few things that need to be checked here. Says Mishnah Berurah. Right. Okay. That's not really much. Let me see the other ones. Let's see what it says here. Right, so he did exactly what I just told you guys, right? He says here, the Mishnah Berurah, that if you don't have the proper size with the straps, either the length or the width, you should put it on without a bracha, without a blessing. Right? Until you get your new straps, right? Replace them. Okay, makes sense. That's one thing. Then I want to look up also one more thing here in Mishnah Berurah. But this thing regarding that the tefillin of the head should be open, should be revealed. So it says Mishnah Berurah, b'diavad, right? If it's covered, it's he fulfills obligation. But lechatchila it should be not covered. The tefillin of the head. Okay, one more. So it says Mishnah Berurah, right? That what? So therefore, if you go to your rabbi, right, and you have your tefillin on, what should you do? So he says, cover it with your talit or cover it with a hat. That's what he says. Sounds good to you? Sounds good to me, whatever, right? Okay, or you could just take it off also. That's another thing, right? But sometimes you don't want to take it off. That's the whole thing. Okay, whatever. So, okay, Chazak Baruch. Thanks for coming, guys. Tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll start the new parak. Kafchet.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Chazak Baruch. Laila Tov. Be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes.
All blessings. Okay, very good.